Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
You're listening to The Man That Can Project with Lachlan Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to The Man That Can Project.
Welcome back. My name is Lachlan Stuart and I am the founder and host of the Man That Can Project, and I'm a men's performance coach focused on empowering men to take ownership for their life and be their authentic self. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can always be updated when there's a new episode dropping. And if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, there's some incredible guests we've got going out next week. We've got on Monday, we've got George Shepherd from the band Shepherd and Christopher Wayne from the Naked Magicians. They were co-hosting with me, which is a phenomenal episode. And last week, on Monday, we had Sam Gardell talking about how he balances family, business, and footy. So it's a great few episodes there recently. What I want to talk to you guys about today is my recent experience seeing a therapist again. For those who saw the video on Instagram where I was talking about the challenges that I was having, this is what sort of led me to reach out, I guess, why I went there originally. For the last 7 years, since 2014, when I've been, I guess, heavily active on social media, on Instagram, I've found, I guess, a bit of a release being able to share the real life struggles that I've been having, also the wins and the learnings along the way. And as the following has grown and the Man That Can Project's grown, I found myself feeling or putting pressure on myself to have my shit together. I felt like, I've been practicing and preaching this for 7 years now, which to some people is a ridiculously long time. For other people, it's a drop in the ocean. However, the pressure that I put on myself to have it sorted, to not have any more challenges, is ultimately what led me to a point of having a good 3-week stint where I was feeling very, very unfulfilled and quite depressed. And it's been literally a good 6-7 years since I felt like that. And I was starting to question, what was going on. And I went back to I was always still doing it, the things that I believe help me with my mental well-being and sustain a positive mental health rating, as I would call it for myself, is, some things I like to do is exercise is important, hydration, sleep, sun exposure, journaling, meditation. Like I got a fair few tools there that have always helped me when I've started to feel like I'm not slipping, but I'm not feeling my best. And for some reason, it wasn't working. I had 3 weeks of just what felt like hell for me, just emotionally drained and fatigued and just not excited about anything, even though I had so much happening around me, which was to, what I believe, be excited about, right? So my only other solution was to go see someone, right? And I'll explain what I believe it was in that end game. But for me, like I said, I was unhappy, I was stressed, I was anxious, and I was feeling fairly depressed over the last couple of weeks. And a good friend recommended going to see a therapist. And it's been years, I reckon 4 or 5 years since I've felt the need to go. and have actively sought out some help. And it was an interesting process to go through again, because once again, like I was talking about, I had that pressure on myself that I needed to have things together. And I also had that badge of honor. It's like, well, I work in a space that's aimed at empowering men to take ownership for their life and help them find fulfillment and satisfaction in things. Yet here I am going to seek help. And in every other area of my life, I've got support. I've got a coach for fitness. I've got a business coach. I've had life coaches, and I've seen help when I needed it. But this was one area that was neglecting, right? And once again, it was that pressure that I'd put on myself. And so when I was like, you know what, I've got nothing to lose, and I really, really just want to feel better again, I straight away went and booked this appointment. And making the booking itself was, I thought, easy, because I didn't have to speak to anyone. I did it online, and I think it was 4 days away from when I made the booking. So I didn't think about it again until the day. And obviously in the lead up, there was a whole heap of, I'm feeling a little bit better. Maybe I don't need to go. Maybe it was just a phase. And then as I started getting closer to having to go, I started to really panic, right? All of the stuff that I mentioned earlier was sort of coming over like a big heavy wave. I was like, you shouldn't be doing this. What if people know that you're seeking help, and yet here you are as a coach and a business owner? It's not going to look very good. And my brain started just getting more and more negative and just really trying to talk me out of going, keep me in the safe space. But ultimately I knew if I were to do that, I was going to miss out on a huge opportunity to understand what the hell was going on in my head. And, as I was sitting in the waiting room, I was just like, right, well, we're here now. Let's make the most of it. But as I went into that session, the first thing that they asked was, why are you here? And, I don't think I really knew, but at the same time I was like, well, I just don't feel awesome. I feel like shit. Aside from that, I don't know why I'm here. And, that led to proceed into more questions, and having, allowed me to think, and it allowed me to start speaking. Within about 7 to 10 minutes, I sort of got to what we both believed to be the reason why I was there. And, my life has, over the last 7 years, been built up of a lot of fear, fear of acting how I used to behave, and fear of not having success, fear of not having recognition, fear of not having money. And it had really been driving me for a long period of time. And because I was living in fear, I was starting to lose the connection with who I was and how I wanted to show up. And I really pride myself on being transparent and honest, right? And there was all those moments, as I mentioned earlier, where I didn't feel I could share what I was experiencing, because I'd put this title on myself. I'd put this pressure on myself to have my shit sorted. But, ultimately we're all human, and we all go through challenges, right? Like, even everyone has their down days, everyone has their up days. Even big business owners lose money, make money. All relationships have their challenges. Like, it works in every situation in life. And I just, for whatever reason, wasn't accepting it. And I felt, the thought process that was going through for me. And I don't know whether you guys can relate. If you can, in obviously in your own way, email me through or send me a message on Instagram, and I'd love to hear, what it's been like for you. However, I felt that I couldn't share the struggles. And as I'd mentioned, one of the things that I'd prided myself on was continually showing up and sharing what was actually real for me. And I think it wasn't the challenges itself that I was facing. As I mentioned, I was doing all the things that I believed to work. It was, what I uncovered was I'd put this so much pressure on myself that I couldn't talk openly to the community that, I aimed to inspire, but also inspired me. And what that had done had created, I guess, a gap. And it might have been a unconscious gap to most people, but, I love to be able to relate to people, and I love people to be able to relate to me. And I was taking that away by not being honest, and not necessarily honest. I wasn't lying about it. I just wasn't sharing it. And it made it harder to talk about things, because underneath I was dealing with these challenges. So after we sort of went through this, and she gave me some exercises to obviously go back to just being open with how I was feeling, and taking all the pressure off me. I've because success has been something that I've craved for a long time and something that I want to have in my own definition, and that's different for all of us. I built up this version of how I perceive myself and how I want others to perceive me, and having weaknesses and having vulnerability was, being overshadowed there as much as I know it's the wrong thing to do. So I wanted to share that with you guys, because no matter how hard you work at anything, I feel like there's always the opportunity or the possibility that we can have setbacks, and it's completely normal. And if we choose to put our head in the sand like I feel I was doing for that couple of weeks, it's only going to make the challenges worse. So we really need to, build our self-awareness. And I feel I've learned a huge amount from what's been going on and seeking help. And, obviously getting back to talking, I think as well, we all need someone we can voice our opinions with. Sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's just even talking to a camera or doing a podcast. Others, we need professional help. And I'm okay with that, right? There's plenty of awkward silences in it where I'm like, do I speak more, or are they going to say something, or what's going on? It made me feel uncomfortable. But in spaces of uncomfort, that's where the opportunity to think differently and grow come through, and it allowed me to reflect and also verbalize what was really going on for me. And as we all know, when you verbalize things or write them down, it really helps you make sense of it a lot more. So my biggest takeaways from seeing that is, if you are struggling in any area of your life, find support and find guidance, right? Because sometimes that external perspective or just even the conversation can be hugely helpful, right? And journal. So for me, the two biggest points that I'm going to continue to be very mindful of is talking and is journaling. So I just wanted to share my recent experience with therapists. I still am going to continue to go. I think it's much like fitness. Once you've reached your fitness goals, don't ever stop doing the work, because otherwise you'll fall back. And, that's the perfect example of me falling back as life's got busier, as I guess my focuses have changed. So have the pressures I've put upon myself. And I think as men, we all put pressures on ourselves, and sometimes we aren't even aware of it. And, I think ultimately we all want to get to that place where we're happy, where we're fulfilled, and, honesty with ourselves and with other people is a huge part on doing that. So thank you guys for listening in on that one, short, sharp. As I said, we've got some great episodes coming out. Please, if you got value from this or any of the others, share it. Take an extra moment to leave a review. And if you haven't joined our free Facebook community, head on over there. We've got an exciting new app, which a few of the lads are trialing out, and I can't wait to open it up to everyone there to continue these conversations, because I know you guys all have so much that I can learn from, and I'm excited to connect further. So thank you, and we'll chat soon. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.